really truly do lose a lot of freedom. There are a lot of days where I'm just asking myself, do I really want to do this? Like, me, each step of the way has just become progressively harder and more challenging in different ways. I'm just not feeling great about being a med student right now. Like, burnout is so real in med school. Okay guys, so the structure of this video right now and the whole setting is very different from my usual. And that's really just because I am so tired from this week that I just want to be comfortable. And right now my happy place is on the couch, curled up in my heated blanket with, yes, my Christmas lights that are still up on. Yeah. So it is Monday, it's January 16th, it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and because of that, I have a day off today. I'm on my surgery rotation right now, so I just worked this past week, worked this weekend, have today off for the holiday, and then go back in tomorrow. So it's been a really rough week, and I felt like it was the appropriate time to talk about burnout in med school. Because I just have not addressed it before, not for any particular reason. I think as med students, we don't even always have the time and capacity to address burnout because we're always on the go. And then when we have a minute, we want to either use that time to do something we love, or we literally just use that time to recuperate. And then that time's gone. And that's what's really happened to me, where I wouldn't call them breakdowns, but they were just moments where I felt extremely overwhelmed. I really want to talk about some of the major things that I think have contributed to burnout for me, just to kind of put those things out there. And then I don't want to leave it on doom and gloom. I do also just want to talk about some of the things that I do to try to combat the feelings of burnout and to try to kind of give me the motivation to just stay the course. So I think a lot of the things that you don't really, you know in theory, but don't know how it will actually feel, that contribute to burnout are things like, for example, you're gonna miss a lot of major life events in your friends' lives, in your family's lives, and even some of the big life events in your own life, you may not be able to celebrate or experience like you would if you were not in med school. Being physically separated from family and friends, obviously you can make new friends and people become like family. Long hours studying, and then once you get to third year, working and studying. I will say burnout has been exaggerated this year. Imposter syndrome, doubting yourself and your capabilities and just your place here in the medical field, having to give up interests and hobbies. That takes a toll sometimes, because sometimes you look back and you see yourself and you're just you feel like you're just so different from what you perceive as the most authentic version of yourself. And even that sometimes makes you feel am I changing for the better or for the worse? Having very little freedom and opportunity to just be spontaneous. You're kind of always in flux. You're going from one organ system to the next organ system. You're going from one clerkship to the next clerkship. And even on clerkships, like surgery, for example, or internal medicine, you're going from one specialty to another specialty, to another service. And so a lot of times it can just feel like as soon as you start getting the hang of something, you are kind of now immersed in something completely different that, while it does have similarities to what you just finished doing, is still very different in a lot of ways. And then just kind of the pressure of always feeling like you have to be on your best behavior and perform well. This is a lot. This is a huge amount of responsibility, a huge amount of physical investment, mental investment, all the things. And it's 1,000,000% normal to feel like, oh my goodness, what have I got myself into? If you never felt that way over the course of your med school journey, then I would be like, whoa, either that person has incredible coping skills, or there's going to be just a huge blow up at some point. So that's the first thing, is I just wanted to normalize those feelings. And then I wanted to talk about like just how I've processed them. So I don't want anyone to feel like, you know, if they go through these waves of feeling overwhelmed or maybe even feeling a little bit down or doubting like the choice to go into medicine, that maybe somehow that means they're not supposed to be in medicine. I don't necessarily think that's true, but I think there are certain circumstances where it is time to be like, hey, I don't think this is for me and I need to pursue other options, and that's okay too. So I would say the reason why, like, for me, I still feel like this is the path I should be on despite all of these feelings is that, like, there are good days and bad days, but the good days really do, like, recharge. If those types of encounters really do solidify for you, okay, this is the kind of impact that I want to have on people, then I would say that could be your sign to know that, sure, you're going to have up days and down days, but it is still being involved in healthcare and impacting people as a care provider that is still like your calling and still something that you're very passionate about. Make sure that you know the difference between this is what I meant to do, but it doesn't feel good right now, versus like, I don't want to do this and I don't find joy in this. And that's the end of that part of the story. I have my tea with me. That brings me joy. Peppermint. Okay. So the very last thing that I want to talk about now with this video is really what the whole purpose of this video was. Hold on. And that is just sharing with you guys the ways in which I try to combat the feelings of burnout, and still find joy and purpose and meaning in my life. I am very good at noticing and recognizing when I'm mentally tapped out and I have nothing left to give. And a lot of people may see this as like irresponsible, but I see it as very responsible because I'm taking care of my mental health. And so what I pretty much do is, like, when I reach a point where I'm just like, I'm tapped out, I'm sure there's more that I could learn, but will I learn it? And how much of an impact will it have on me? I'm done. I don't study anymore. I don't take one last look in the book, nothing like that. And then I talked earlier about like really not being able to keep up with as many hobbies and interests as you probably did before med school, but still keep something that matters to you. Camping has been one that like really brings me a lot of joy and rejuvenates me. And we don't get to go camping often. Like, we go maybe 3 times a year, but like those camping trips really carry me a long way. Just from like being able to completely disconnect. I do not study at all when we go on these camping trips. So completely disconnecting, enjoying the campfire, looking at the stars, whatever it is. Taking time to appreciate the little things. So this is like almost like a cliche phrase that we hear a lot, just in life in general growing up. But it really did not become as important to me until like I was on my own as an adult and until I was in med school. Just the time that you have that you're not obligated to anything and anyone, just like really reveling in that. And like, if you want to just veg out and not do anything, don't, just enjoy not having anything to do. For us, like, we try to do date nights, but a lot of times our date nights are literally just a movie night at home on the couch with my little lights on, eating a meal that we enjoy. And like, for a lot of people, that'd be like, huh? That's a date? Like, sis, get your standards up. But that makes me happy. I enjoy that. Like, I like being in the comfort of my own home when I've been out for 12 hours a day all week. That just brings me joy, and it's a simple pleasure in life, and it's something that I can like just choose to be thankful for. In terms of just like practical skills and things that you can do, trying as much as you can to, and this is what I do, to get as much like studying and questions done while you're in the clinical setting so that you have a lot less to do when you get home, just because depending on what rotation you're on, there's not a ton of time. The other thing that I try to do is just like take charge of the things that I can control. So for example, it's mid-January, and yes, my Christmas tree is still up, as well as the lights that we have inside the house. And part of it is just like I haven't had a moment to take it down, but also like I like sitting here and I like having these lights on. Like, I don't know. It just creates a very cozy vibe that makes me happy and serves as a little dose of serotonin. So they're still up. And then the last thing for me is really just finding support in like my faith tradition. So on one hand, it's just like believing that God has destined me for this path, and I think he has actually guided me to this path. Kind of feeling like this is literally the path that you were supposed to be on definitely helps you to put into perspective, like, sure, this doesn't feel great right now, but I'm gonna get there. I may not know how, but I'm gonna get there. And then the other half of that is just like a personal, like, moral belief that is a part of the faith tradition that we are a part of, which is the idea of a Sabbath, which is, you know, you'll probably know it from like traditional Jewish faith as Shabbat. But just the idea of Sunset Friday to Sunset Saturday being time that is supposed to be set aside, time that is for family, time that is for you and God. That's time that I do not study at all. Now, I do want to be clear. I make a clear distinction between studying and personal interests and like medical and clinical duties. So I do not have a problem with showing up and having a call shift or whatever on like a Friday night or a Saturday, because I feel like people need care regardless of what day it is, and I don't think that violates my beliefs. But I do choose not to study during those hours because I think that's a little bit different, and again, that's very nuanced. But that gives me the opportunity every week to have a 24-hour period of time, for the most part. This year has been the exception, where I get to just like reset. I do nothing. Sometimes my husband and I just watch these nature documentaries, make some cookies, like, and we just have a good Friday evening. We enjoy church on Saturday, or we like do something in nature, like hiking or going to the beach or camping or whatever. And that also has served as a nice little weekly refresh for me. That was like really, really imperative to my wellness the first 2 years. Again, this year has been a little bit different for services that do have like call and do have weekend obligations. Sometimes I have had to go in during those hours. And that's just been something that was a new adjustment to make. Anyway, that's it. That's everything I had to talk about. I feel like this video is not quite as formal as a lot of my other ones have been, but I just felt like it was an important one to record, because I want to be as open and honest about this experience as I can be. I share a lot of the positive. There are downsides. There's downsides to every decision you make in life, and you have to choose either to decide, I don't want these cons, I want to do something else with my life, and take the down that comes with that. Or you still have to decide that, like, nope, this is what I want to do. This is where I'm supposed to be. And you have to figure out ways to cope with the things about it that aren't so positive. So that was pretty much the purpose of this video. I hope somebody finds this video helpful and is able to relate to some of the things that I'm saying. But yeah, thank you guys for listening and being here. So I will hopefully have some new content for you guys in the near-ish future. We'll see. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. I will see you in the next video.
I'm not worried that I need to help you. Let's speak more, let's preach more.